Hi everyone and welcome to our webinar session on how to land your first job. Um I'm really happy to share with you the advices from our experiences here. Katja and me will talk about our experience from both having our first job searched and our first job being here in Infobip, but also from the side of the recruitment, since we both work in the human resources department. And we saw also the other side of the job hunt, the side of the recruitment. So first, to introduce ourselves. My name is Anita and I work as HR analyst in Infobip. Infobip is a global ICT company, one of the leaders in its industry. It seems we have some issues with the sound.
It's okay from my side.
Okay, it's okay now. Okay. So Infobip is one of the global leaders in its industry, in ICT industry, and I worked there for 2.5 years already. With me here is Katja. She's a recruitment expert, and I will let her introduce herself.
Thank you, Anita. Hello, everyone. As Anita already introduced me a bit, my name is Katja. I'm her colleague in Infobip, working more on this recruitment side.
Okay, short and sweet. We can go to start the presentation. I know it's written here that it's like 2 hours, but we'll keep it really short and try to be as concrete as possible. So let's start. You graduated right now and entering the job market. As you will see, it is a whole different world from what you're used to and completely new rules apply. But as you will see, it's not that scary. How do you start? What should be your first step? First, let's bust some career myths. Usually, the most common one is that everybody thinks that there is only one perfect career or position for a person. That is something we think that when we are choosing our university, that is a lifetime decision. As also as when we are choosing our first job, we also think it's a lifetime decision, and it puts even more stress on that. We think like I'm 23-year-old now, 24, how much, and whatever I decide right now will be fatalistic for entire my life. Well, good news is that that is not true. The research shows that the average person who is now entering the job market will change career directions 4 to 7 times during their lifetime. So this choice you make right now doesn't have to be your lifetime choices. The same goes with the industries. People usually think that one particular industry is only for those people who have those degrees. One of the examples is the IT industry in which we work. People usually think that IT industry is only for IT people, and they don't even think on applying to the jobs there. But for example, our biggest department by the number of people is sales department, and that is not the IT department. So don't narrow down your choices. If you finish the finance degree, to look at the jobs only in finance industries. If you finished a law degree, to look for the jobs only in the law industry, etc. All the industries out there have different departments, different positions. In IT industry, finance people also work, legal people also work. I finished the law degree. Katja here finished psychology, and we both work in IT industry. So after we busted those career myths and figured out that we don't want to put as much stress on our decisions right now, and that it's okay not to make a lifetime decision right now, first thing is define what you want. Now, In the first, this may sound contradictory to what we said right now, but this is define what you want right now, not during your entire lifetime, but define what you want right now. What kind of position do you want right now? What do you want to learn right now? Uh, Maybe you will say this is what everybody tells you, and it's not that easy. Of course it's not, but we can make it a lot easier if we split it up in 3 simple steps. It's research, preparation, and application. We will go shortly to all 3 of them, so you will see in the end that they are really easy steps and that you can easily find out what you want at this point of your life. So first is research, is where we answer ourselves a lot of questions. At this point we're only collecting information. Though we said you don't have to make any big decision of who you want to be in your life, you still need to narrow down your choices. That's why you need to define at least those scope of work areas, positions, departments, or at least a couple of industries that you want to work in. You do that through researching. Go and Google, go and talk to people who work in different industries, and as they are talking, try think about, is it something you like and you see yourself in or not? Why is this step important? If you don't narrow down your choices to at least a couple of work areas or at least a couple of industries, you will get overwhelmed with all the information and you will not be able to keep step with all of them. You will be all over the places, you will not have focus, and then the real relevant information, really relevant jobs will not come to you, or you will miss them, they will not catch your eye. So once you talk to people, you go there, you research. The sources you use there are job portals, of course. When reading job ads, you can see if it's something that sounds interesting to you or not. Social networks, make sure to join the groups, industry groups, job seekers groups, company career websites. Go to different companies and check their websites. Those are all great sources to actually find out more about different positions and different industries, and then to just check it up with yourself. Does that sound something I like or not? Once you made that first filter, it doesn't have to be like a really narrow filter, you can filter it later. First filter, choose a couple of positions, couple of departments, couple of industries that sound interesting to you. Now you need to find the jobs from those industries or those positions. Sources are, of course, first job portals. Each country has 1 or 2 top job portals, and make sure to go there, search through them, find what is interesting. Social networks is the second one. LinkedIn definitely among the first ones, but Facebook is really important. Social networks differ from region to region, of course. But despite the region, if you don't have a LinkedIn account, definitely create one, create a profile, and there's a lot of tutorials out there to help you create a really great profile which will attract the recruiters. LinkedIn also has a job site where you can make search, save search, subscribe to receive newsletters on the new jobs. Different company career websites also have the option to subscribe to newsletters on their jobs. Why do I keep saying subscribe? Well, imagine you have 2 job portals, 5 social networks, and 10 company career websites that you really like. You will end up every day checking all of those. You will end up checking 20 or 50 websites every day. But if you play it smart and if you subscribe to what you're interested in, those information will come to your mailbox. So there's only one step, one checkpoint you need to check, and that is your mailbox. You go to your mailbox, see the newsletters with the new jobs that you received, and just click on those that sound interesting to you. This will save you a lot of time when searching for a job. If you have chosen a couple of industries, you can go there and find out what are the top players from that industry in your country, what are the companies which are in this industry and that hire a lot, and important, that hire a lot of young people and junior roles. Go to their websites, they are a great resource. First, as I already said, subscribe to receive their job ads, but important, it's also to subscribe to receive news about their businesses. This will help you a lot later, we will see. When writing your application, And if you come to the interview, because at that point you will already collect a lot of information about the industry, and you will know the company. You can impress in your CV, in your cover letter, by your knowledge of the industry and your knowledge of the company business. All this is to find out what you are looking for. What is that job that I want at this point? After you found out that, the second one is preparation. So you went through your mailbox, you found a couple of jobs that you really like, you found that job that you want to apply. What is the next step? So the first one, analyze the job ad. We will have an example later, but common mistake people do is they only check the requirements part of the job ad. Read entire job ad, because other parts, despite requirements, can tell you a lot about the company. What is the work environment there? What is their philosophy? What they believe in? What type of people they employ? And that will help you to write the application to present yourself as the person they're looking for. Check those keywords that they use in the job ad. Some may use structure, the discipline words, and the style of and wording of writing, and that means your CV and application need to be like that. Some use more flexible, creative. That means they're looking someone who is also creative, who is more flexible and more open. So make sure your CV and cover letter follows that style. Second two steps are actually to compensate for the lack of experience. If you are looking just for your first job, you don't have that advantage of having a previous experience on the role. So you research on the position in general. If you're applying for the sales manager, for example, position, don't just read the job ad that you found, but go and Google what sales managers do, what is their scope of work, what is their career path, what are the challenges they are facing. All of this is something that employer is interested in. So when they see a CV of a junior person who doesn't have experience in that job role, okay, they think this person doesn't have experience, but maybe has a potential, and you will show that potential through understanding the position. What is the position about? I have an example from myself. When I was just applying for a job here, this was my first experience in human resources, and I made sure to research a lot about the human resources in general, to when I come to the interview, to show that though I don't have that much of experience, I'm pretty much aware of all the challenges and responsibilities this role carries. Why is it important? Why is it needed in the company? Third is research on the company, because it's also something employer will be interested in, especially if you're applying for those core business related roles as sales, for example. They want to know that even though you didn't have the experience within that industry, that you have some previous knowledge, you have some background, that you're ready to learn about it. And even if they figure out that knowledge is purely theoretical, it tells them a lot about the type of person you are. It tells them that you're someone who is willing to give the best of themselves, to prepare yourself, that you're hardworking and disciplined. This is all to find out what they are looking for. So after you made these two steps, find out what you're looking for and find out what they're looking for, the third step is to make a match between those two. But before we go to the third slide, just to say that usually when we hold presentations about, we've been in a couple of universities holding these telepresentations, and what people usually ask us is, well, this takes a lot of time. Actually, if you play it smart, it doesn't. So if first you listen to those first two advices that I said, it's first that focus, narrow down your choices and focus on all of them. Subscribe to receive newsletters, so you don't have to go there and seek for information come to you. And just make sure to follow them up on a regular basis, whether daily or weekly. At the point when you see job ad, you already have a lot of information. You don't have to start searching for the information when you are applying for the job ad, because you already did that a lot of work before. Third step is the application itself. That means application is making a match between what you're looking for and what the employer is looking for. And I know that everybody is already sick of hearing that you should write position targeted and not general CV, but it's true. and especially when you don't have a lot of experience, and you need to show that despite the lack of your experience, you are the perfect person for that role. Uh, this is specifically important for that. One piece of advice here would be the first CV you write, that is the CV with which you will not apply to any job, can be a big CV in which you will include everything. Just sit down and write everything that you can remember, and then when you see the job ad you want to apply, extract only the relevant information from that big CV to the one that you will apply with. After you extracted that CV, then polish it. Use what we already mentioned here. See what style they're using, what wording, what are the keywords. Is it more creative style of writing, or is it more strict and disciplined style of writing? And adjust your CV to that. Later on, we will talk about more details about this, how to match your CV to the job ad. But the point here, the key thing here is that you need to connect information in the CV to the job ad. From your CV, when somebody sees that CV, the thing that should pop out to that person is that this is the person that is the right for this role. Of course, KISS rule, keep it short and simple. 1 to 2 pages CV is definitely important. And if you listened to those advices before and wrote, included only relevant information and wrote, adjusted the CV to the job ad, point out that relevant position targeted information, this shouldn't be a problem. This shouldn't be a problem for you. And why does it need to be like this? It is when from the other side, and Katja will now take over after this, so she can tell you from her own experience. From the recruiter from the other side sees your CV. Recruiters usually don't spend a lot of time reading CVs. They receive 300, 500 CVs. They don't spend a lot of time on one CV. So once they take that your CV, immediately the key information, the most relevant information should catch their eye. They shouldn't spend, and they won't spend a lot of time trying to go through all of those experiences you listed to find the relevant one. And I know we all have something in our life that we are really proud of. And that we want to tell everyone about it, but the point is that if you include everything, then the really important information will get lost and will not catch the eye of the reader of the CV. Katja, as a recruiter, will take over from here.
Thank you, Anita, for the lovely introduction and for briefly summarizing all the important points in job application. I am going to take going to talk a bit about tailoring the CV. So as you probably know, your resume should be divided into few sections, covering basics such as contact information, education, experience, and skills that you find relevant for the job you're applying for. We know that a lot of you have numerous different skills, but here in the CV, you should only point out the most relevant information for you as a person. So to start from the contact section, it should contain at least your phone number and the professional email you use. So, for example, a professional email is in a form of name.lastname@gmail.com or outlook.com or something similar, not like happygirl77 at something else, because does not leave the impression of a person who devoted time to just create a professional email account. So that's just, like a couple of minutes of work, and it definitely gives a better impression to recruiters. If you have a LinkedIn profile, you should also put it in this section. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, it's time you make it, as Anita already mentioned. There are various online tutorials on building your LinkedIn profile, so you can find all relevant information online. It just takes a couple of hours of Googling, but it definitely pays out. In some countries, adding a photo to your CV is highly appreciated, while in others it's not. If I'm talking from my point of view, photo does not make a difference in the CV, but please keep in mind that if you do decide to put it, it should be a professional one, not a selfie in the bathroom, because believe me, I have seen a lot of CVs which come in with different types of selfies, and that's just not the time to do that. So to continue to the experience section, it should briefly describe your previous work experience, starting from the most recent one. When you're applying for your first job, any previous experience is worth mentioning. It does not matter if if it's a student job, such as babysitting or waitressing. It gives information about responsibilities which you took up while studying, and shows actually that you managed to effectively organize your time at university. So, for instance, if you worked in various roles during university, just group them into one section to avoid making your CV longer. So that way you don't have like you worked only during the summer and 3 summers in a row, so you don't enter all 3 positions separately. You just kind of group them into student jobs. If you have some relevant long-term positions, description of those roles should follow a so-called so what formula and a new rule, which will be later explained in detail. Education section should as well follow your studies, starting from the most recent and relevant one. So in this section, briefly just describe qualification you received and major fields of studying, as well as some interests. Any accomplishments and rewards should be mentioned here, as well as participation in student associations you find worth mentioning, and so on. Maybe you have participated in some form of a non-formal education, for instance, some additional workshops or online courses, or maybe you learned something on your own, but like you highly developed a skill on your own. So this should also be mentioned here. It doesn't matter if a job, for instance, states that you should have a BSc in economics. You don't have that degree, but you did learn that on your own or in studying some other fields and so on. So every experience can matter, and at least when talking from my experience, we do appreciate, especially when a junior person shows that besides formal education, they had also some additional educations before. Skills section should be adapted to the job ad you're applying to. Relevant skills and experience will be mentioned in every job ad you read. So tailoring this section might be crucial for the application. So when preparing your CV, choose a couple of skills, for example, 5 most relevant skills for the job. Keep in mind that you should provide examples how you gained specific skills. So for instance, if you would like to say your event organizing skills are on high level, you should provide an example where those skills shined and where you had the chance to demonstrate them. Besides skills relevant for the job advertisement, you should also mention your language knowledge, IT skills here. So for example, if you know how to use some additional software package, mention it here. Bear in mind that skills relevant for the job should also be easily seen from the whole CV, so from the description of your previous work experience and education. We will go through definition of those skills later in a kind of a practical part. So now let's go through what formula and new rule. Basically, what so what formula is something you should follow when describing your previous work experience. 2 basic questions should be answered when someone reads your CV. Those are what did you do and what was the outcome or impact of that action. So for instance, instead of just saying I organized a workshop for students, you can transform that into saying, together with a team of colleagues, I helped to organize additional education for final year students where we got a chance to apply theoretical knowledge into real life situations. So that way you kind of explain the consequences of your actions and how it helped like a wider audience, and how it even helped the community. So give as much much relevant information in the shortest way you can. When following a new rule in describing previous experience, just be guided by obtaining numbers, examples, accomplishments, and results. As you can see from the examples here, numbers and accomplishments in terms of volume and percentage definitely give more information than just mere statements. So recruitment, okay, so we all know what is recruitment. Student organizations have recruitment, but if you mention that while you were working there, the association grew in 20%, that gives more information to the reader than just basic recruitment. Same goes for project management and budget management. CVs are usually followed by a motivational letter. It's usually a way of getting an interview with the company you choose. So we all like to read motivational letters. And since you as a first job seeker often don't have previous work experience, you need to prove you are a fit for the role in another way. The best way to do that is to ace the motivational letter. By not just writing a generic motivational letter, you should show how well you understood the position and how you can bring some added value to the employer. So besides motivational letter, you can also work on some other things which could get you into an interview with a company. For instance, networking, which means that if you know a person who is working in a company of your interest, you can reach out to them to get informed about the vacancy, company culture in general. A lot of companies actually have an established program of employee recommendations. So for instance, we also have it, and we encourage our employees to recommend us people they think would be suitable for the company in terms of culture and in terms of job description, and then they get rewarded for that. A lot of our applications and employees actually came in the company through this reference network. So some companies also offer internships or graduate programs for juniors. And besides applying for a specific vacancy, you can always reach out to the employer and inform yourself about a potential internship. So you can just send an email to info@companyname.com. You can find some contact information always on the web, and you can just reach out with a question. Someone will reply, even if it's a negative reply, you will probably get a reply. You might ask yourself what should and what should not be included in a motivational letter. So before writing it, you should gather as much information as possible about the vacancy for which you're applying. Many companies have a career section on their web, and there you can find various blog posts, tips and tricks related to recruitment process with the specific company, and so on and so forth. So for instance, a company might be very internationally oriented, and they might appreciate if their employees can easily adapt to new cultures and environments. If you had international experience, such as exchange programs and educations in a foreign country, you should definitely point that out in your motivational letter. So by writing a good motivational letter, you also show how well you would fit in the company's culture. Before we proceed to company culture section, where Anita will give you more tips and tricks on that, we would like to share some tips with you, which are included in this short summary. So they covered like basics of application, and some general ones I would like to share include applying for the role as soon as you find it open. So most applications come in last days in which vacancy is open, and the sooner you apply, the more chance you have to be screened and then invited for an interview as well. So in the first few days, we publish a vacancy, and then we're just waiting for those applications to come to start screening CVs and to start inviting people for the interview. So the sooner you send the CV in those first phase, the more chance you have to get the interview with the company. Also, some companies have a special software which detects keywords from an advertisement in CV. So make sure that in writing your CV, you use the same wording as the job ad uses. You will find various keywords in the job description, and make sure to use some of those in your CV in case a company has this software and they will be doing a search based on those keywords that your resume pops up. Keep in mind, a lot of things can be found online, starting from various CV building platforms. So you have numerous forms, designs, and so on. There are tons of tips and tricks and a lot of information about the companies, not only on the company web, but also on Google, Glassdoor, and so on. You just Google the company and you'll find some kind of a forum where people talk about its culture, and so on and so forth. You just need to be persistent enough to find it. So shortly, that was it about tips and tricks and how to tailor the CV. And Anita will take over with description of our company culture. Anita. Okay, guys, so can you hear me? Okay, so Anita had some problems with the microphone, but I'll take over her part. If she if she manages to solve her issues, she might jump in. So what we wanted to tell you about the company culture is that this may sound new to you, but it's actually what we were already saying. So when reading company website news, their job ad, you can see what their work environment is. What are their principles? What are the people like? What kind of people they want? What is their philosophy? And this is described through company culture, or more concrete, through core values. Um, every company has their core values. Those are our principles which guides us in our life. For instance, Infobip also has some core values, and we like to see them in all our employees. So those are the principles in which we believe. So when you are going to company site, make sure to check what are their values by reading their career-related news, blogs, videos, etc., and see if this is something you like and if you share the same values. So find companies which share your values. This means that you will work with people who are similar to you by same principles, and this means that you will work in an environment which feels good to you. Do you see yourself in corporate environment with strict hierarchy, or you prefer relaxed environment with flat decision making? When making a career decision, try to find a company which is the culture fit for you. It is as important as you being a good fit for the company. We have a blog post on what it means to be a fit. You can read it on Infobip website. Hopefully it will give you more insight into this matter. Now let's go through examples of some core values here. I will give you examples and you try to think about what is this company like? What is its business? What kind of personalities are working there? What kind of personalities they want? So in first option, you can see a financial institution. It's a structured and disciplined environment where integrity is really important. In example number 3, you can see it's about an industry where aim is to help other companies, bring some value to them. Consulting industry and a global team. They look for commitment, bringing value and integrity from their employees. In example number 3, you can see it is a fast-paced environment where being bold, flexible, and open is important. IT industry, of course. So being fast and adaptable is critical to succeed in this industry, and discipline and hierarchy are not as important as being fast and make impact. And in example number 4, you can see some difference from previous. Besides having freedom to be creative, having courage and excel in what you're working on, the emphasis is on team spirit, having passion, care about what you do and people around you, and don't let anything break your spirit. So nothing is impossible. That is what we believe in, and we are just we're always saying that we're just starting, and there is much more we can achieve together. So what we were thinking of doing now is some kind of a practical exercise. If you can just click on the link here, that would be great. It will lead you to a job ad at Infobip's page, and we would like to answer some of the questions here. It's unclickable, then try just copying and pasting it into browser, please, because the PPT does not allow to click. And then let me know if it works. Okay, so yeah, I'll try to copy it here in chat, but thank you. King, yeah. So this one. Okay, so once you read the job ad, try to think of those questions that are mentioned here. What type of personality is this job ad looking for? What you should point out? And what should you put in your motivation letter? So guys, Anita just let me know that she does not hear me. Do you hear me? Okay, great. Yeah, so this is something that people usually skip reading when applying for a job. That's a mistake since this tell you who the company is and it will help you understand if it's the company you work in. If yes, then just use the wording and style when applying. When we read this job ad, we see that it's a fast growing company with ambitious visions. You can see that from the first part. We dream big. Last year, over half of the world's population interacted with business through the Infobip platform, and we are just starting. Um, they made their goals and they're putting even more ambitious goals. That means that the company is looking for someone who is the same. Include your experiences of starting something new where you have shown you made ambitious goals already. Show you have brave enough, you are brave enough for that, and that you have that passion in yourself. In the part, you know you're doing a good job when you can see what you will be working. So this will help you understand, do I want to work this? If yes, and one of these bullet points are similar to any you have had experience with, list that experience. If you have worked on external relations in your organization, list that. If you have followed industry news, write something about it to show that you have that knowledge. Here you have the part more about you. It's the section which you can use to see if you are the fit for the job, and if yes, to decide what you will include in your CV. What are the relevant information? If you had experience with IT, if you worked in dynamic environment before, list it. If you have shown somewhere you are good at presentations, communication, you work with partners in faculty or organization, list it. Anything that shows you are a good communicator or presenter, love challenges and can get things done fast, list it here. Also, if you had any international experience, list it even if it's not relevant. This will show that you're comfortable with the traveling and international environment. And in the last part, you can see why it's called here, like why our employees choose here and stay. This is where you can see what's it like to work in this company, how the employee's life looks like, what is the philosophy, what you can get from working there. This will help you know if you want to work there and help you know what to write on and what are you looking from an employer. So obviously here it is a very fast-paced industry with oriented to learning and growth. So thank you for this. We are now open to some questions if you have them. You can just type them in here. That would be great. So Anita and I can also both answer.